Hello, friends, and welcome back to the channel that brings you daily updates on Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA benefits, Medicare, stimulus programs, and all things affecting low and fixed income Americans. I'm so glad you're here today, because what I'm about to share with you might just change the way we all look at Social Security policy. If you've ever felt like politicians are always playing games, promising one thing and delivering another, then you'll definitely want to hear what's going on behind the scenes right now. But here's the kicker, this time, that bait and switch might actually turn out to be good for seniors. Yes, you heard that right. We're used to seeing policy proposals that cut, delay, or deny benefits under the guise of reform. But now, we're watching what looks like a strategic reversal, a move where lawmakers floated one idea, got pushback, and quietly shifted gears towards something surprisingly beneficial for beneficiaries. And the most incredible part? It's not making major headlines, yet. So, what's the bait, and what's the switch? Let's go back just a few months. You may remember the public outcry when several members of Congress floated the idea of raising the retirement age, cutting COLA adjustments, or changing the way benefits are calculated to save Social Security. Naturally, this caused fear and frustration, and rightly so. Millions of seniors rely on their monthly checks not as extra income, but as their lifeline. The idea of cutting even a dollar felt like a betrayal. But what quietly happened next is what we're focusing on today. Under pressure from advocacy groups, public polls, and massive feedback from the American people, yes, people just like you, lawmakers began reframing their approach. Instead of pushing cuts, they're now floating a new set of ideas that would expand and protect Social Security. That's the switch. Instead of a subtraction, we might be looking at an unexpected addition. Now, this doesn't mean everything is perfect, far from it. But let's take a look at the specifics. One of the most talked about proposals gaining traction is the idea of implementing higher payroll taxes for high-income earners, particularly those making over $250,000 a year. This fair share strategy could strengthen the Social Security Trust Fund without impacting lower and middle-income Americans. Think about it, a small tax on a multimillionaire's income could ensure stability for a senior on a $1,400 monthly check. That's a trade-off many see as more than fair. In addition, several lawmakers are now backing the idea of expanding benefits, not shrinking them. This includes raising the minimum Social Security payment for long-term low-wage workers, increasing survivor benefits for widows and widowers, and introducing a new formula that could result in larger monthly checks for seniors living in high-inflation areas. But here's the twist, all of this is happening quietly. No big press releases, no sweeping speeches on the House floor. It's happening through budget line items, committee discussions, and behind-the-scenes planning. That's why today's episode is so important, because while most people are still reacting to the old proposals, the real story is what's being planned in the background. In just a moment, I'll walk you through how this unexpected switch could directly increase your monthly benefit, when it might happen, and who could qualify for the largest boosts. But first, if you appreciate these deep dives and honest breakdowns of Social Security news, please hit that like button. Your support keeps this channel going and helps us reach more people who need to hear the truth behind these policy shifts. Now that we've talked about the bait, the initial fear-inducing proposals like raising the retirement age and trimming cost of living increases, and the switch, the quiet but very real movement towards strengthening and expanding Social Security, let's talk specifics. What could this mean for you and your benefits? First, let's talk numbers. Under one of the most recent budget drafts, certain Social Security recipients could see their monthly benefits increase by $200 to $400 per month, depending on how long they've been retired, how much they contributed during their working years, and whether they fall into a targeted category like long-term disabled, widowed, or low-income retirees. Now remember, these are proposals, not guarantees, but they're gaining bipartisan traction, which is rare in today's political climate. Another key proposal being considered is a new inflation adjustment method. The current formula, known as CPIW, doesn't reflect the actual spending habits of seniors. Instead, there's a growing push to shift to CPIE, the Consumer Price Index for the elderly, which better accounts for medical costs, housing, and other senior-specific expenses. If this passes, COLA's, cost of living adjustments, could rise more each year, which would be a game-changer for anyone living on a fixed income. There's also a plan to increase the income threshold for taxation of Social Security benefits. Right now, if you earn more than $25,000 as an individual or $32,000 as a married couple, your benefits can be taxed. That hasn't changed in decades, even though inflation has skyrocketed. Raising that threshold would mean more money stays in your pocket each month. Now, let's talk timeline. While some of these changes could be implemented as early as the next fiscal year, most are being discussed as part of the 2026 reform cycle, when the Social Security Trust Fund is projected to face a funding shortfall. Lawmakers know they have to act, and the new approach seems to be leaning toward raising revenue and enhancing benefits, rather than cutting or privatizing. That's why many experts are now calling this a positive pivot, a kind of bait and switch that actually benefits seniors. So, what should you do right now? First, stay informed. We'll be covering every step of this legislative journey so you don't miss a thing. Second, consider reaching out to your local representatives and letting them know you support Social Security expansion, not cuts. Your voice matters more than you think. And third, make sure your personal retirement plan is up to date. If these new benefits roll out, you'll want to be prepared to maximize what you qualify for. And finally, let's not forget the bigger picture. We've spent years bracing for cuts, scrambling to adjust to rising costs, and worrying that the programs we paid into for decades might vanish. But for once, it looks like the tide is turning, and while it may have started with fear, it could end in fairness. So, yes, it may have started as a bait and switch. But this time, it looks like the outcome is actually good for seniors. Bigger checks, fairer calculations, and stronger protections. Let's keep pushing for transparency, for fairness, and for real support for the people who built this country. If you found this breakdown helpful, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you care about. The more people we reach, the more powerful our voices become. Drop a comment below if you've got questions or if you're seeing changes already happening in your state. I read every single one and I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and keep standing strong. I'll see you in the next update.